not join the audio. Oh, sorry. So I think I know I joined the audio. So if you can hear me, please let me know if you, okay. Yeah, I forgot to join the audio. Okay. And then also you can like log, because for the server side, sometimes when we are running on the server, we are not able to stop it. So we don't have a function like called like kind of like C out or like console.log. So if you're using console.log, it won't come out. So maybe you need to log in, save as a text file. So you can see like every time what are the possible errors. Okay. Basically, if you install a Node.js and the npm, then we can use like so we can use React, just like even Node.js. Of this we can use, and the basic one we need to use the happy.js will be at happy.js, and then if you see the example I gave you also, if we need to connect to the MongoDB, our database, so we have the MongoDB, or another one is called a Mongoose, and it's Mongoose. So Mongoose is also is another framework we are using a lot. So I give you two like all the sample code, so you can refer to those 10 sample codes. You can choose the one like which is more like suitable for your development. And if you need to add other dependents, then you can add it. So we can show you. If you know the basic structure, we always like require the happy.js from the top, and then we start with the asynchronous function to start our happy JS server. So we always running on the like port 3000 on our local host. And you will see the route right here, the sample code I gave you, like I put the route inside the function initialization, and I connect to the server. So everything is like running, we have a dynamic route, and then we have the path parameter. And also we have, like, let's say we have the query, like we need to pass the ID, or if you have because we have method like get and post, right? If we need to post it through the payload, the body, then how can we post it through the payload? And then how can we create different plugins? We can look at it. And with the, as what we mentioned about this function. So once we start, and let's see if you need to require, let me show you the, so here the one I think I shared to you, if you download and running on your server and test it right, you already from your previous code. So right now, just like let you go through one more time. If you look at the structure of the happy.js, so the this line, and then how we start the function, we just ignore the MongoDB connection. So you will see all the route. So if you need to create a new route, you need to follow the structure. So let's say if you need to create a new one with the get method. So just like copy this part. So it's a block. So with the route, so you can declare the method. So get, we will pass the parameter through the URL, the link. And we have two types to pass the parameter. So one is we can pass like the params, and another one is called the query parameter. Okay. I will show you another example code. And we have the handler. So handler is like once you receive this request, how do we handle it? After we have a new version, we have called that like async. So it's because most of this type of service, we need to handle the synchronization issue. When we post the request to the server, when we send it, we need to retrieve the data from our database and wait. So if we don't wait for it, let's say here, because we will connect to our MongoDB, the database. If we don't put the async and wait, when we send a request like collect or like I want to find certain data, I will skip and then I run return. So if you forgot to put the wait async, every time it will, sometimes we will use the return as a promise. Promise also is okay to return a value. we would just like wait for like retrieve a value. But if we don't wait for it, we always get the empty array. So if you in your implementation, like let's say for your project or later in the assignment, if you didn't get anything, maybe you have something like forgot to wait for the result. Of course, another possible reason is that maybe your MongoDB query like make some mistake, then you are not able to find your content correctly. Okay. So far, here's the structure of a route. So because the one I gave you, and then right now I'd like to show you the if we have like if we are using the get method, most of the time we were passing through the parameter if we are using a post. So post, we are mainly sending the data through the body. So the body we call the payload. So you will see right here from the sample code, it's called a request.payload. From the payload is a JSON format. And from the, let's say if you have the client website or the cell phone, and then if you need to send some data to the server, okay, the API server, then you need to send it as the with the header and then define that JSON format, and we need to put all the content in the JSON format, then we will reserve it as a payload. And if we need to handle it as, so right here as a parameter, then how can we change it? Will be two of it. So let's say I doing a demonstration on my computer, like all these things I right now running on my local host. I'm not using my AWS as EC2. So let's say I have a Mongoose right here, and I will switch it online store, and then db dot I call it the books, and then the fun. Okay. So here's all the record right now. Okay, so just like for testing. So I have a MongoDB is running on my computer. So it's a local for testing. So this one is not on the server. So so far the structure will be like this, but I changed the format. For a good practice, we are not like putting everything, the query and then the server block in one single file. Okay, so for your project, I will recommend you to break down all the details. If you running the server host, I'm request another file. So it's called the Mongo query. So you can put another file name. I export all those SQL query. I will show you a structure and then show all the details and notch it. So actually right now I have two files. So I will export all those like query as a function and export it. You can see from the bottom. I'll export it right here so I can import from the main server, the server, and then I can call this function and then get the return value. And you will see here I getting more details, like I using try catch, like try to return the error message. And right here if I able to execute correctly, then of course I will return value. If I catch any error, then I will return a response like code 500 and then with the error message. If you look at the sometimes on the website, you will see the 404 is not found, or sometimes if you receive 500, it shows is an internal error. So most of the time internal, maybe the system is like some service is down, or if you try to retrieve the data from your database, no matter it's MongoDB or MySQL, if you have failed to retrieve it, sometimes because the syntax error, your query have some issue, you couldn't able to retrieve the data, you will receive 500. So here is the color 500 is a like common sense as standard. So we use 500 showing, okay, if for some internal error. And here, if we didn't pass any parameter, so let me execute and exit and run the server. Let me start the server. Okay, I forgot to install it. Okay. And then happy.js and mongoose. Okay, let me install the pack. So all the same. So we need to install all the package. And okay, so right now the server is running on the localhost 3000, and then I connect to my localhost database. And I will show you the first request. Okay, so you see right now I return all those the records. This one is what you did before, like I asked you to get the data from your server side. But right now I will tell you like all the details of the structure. This one I will try to catch it if I make any error, and then I call the function from another I import from the Mongo queries this file and with the correct details. Okay, so I talk about the mention about the parameter, right? For the parameter, first one, if I need to pass one parameter, let's say I need to pass the ID. So I put a curly bracket behind it, and then I will pass it as a request parameter. Or I can handle it in another way. So I can change it to, let's say I have a constant value, it's called ID, because I'm not going to modify the value, and then the ID. Okay, so this one, capitalize, okay. So either one of the syntax, it works. So what's the differences? It's like the first one with the curly bracket, so we are passing, we call that like reversing. So it's same idea, like when we try to request and calling the function, import the value, like one of it. So that's how it works. You can do it in this way. Or if you like putting the dot notation to represent, okay, I get the value ID. So either one way is fine. So it depends on your style. If you like the one in the bottom, then you can use this one. If you like to use keep it from the top, then you can just use it. Okay, so here's the example. So I just give you different type of example so you can use for your project, or like when you for doing the coding. Okay. So once I get the ID, I will pass it to the function. So you see a get book ID. So that's what I import from the Mongo query. Right now I'm showing you right here the Mongo query right here. So it's the same as a synchronous function. And I call the like constant get book by ID. So I pass it and I call the function books. And here's the column Mongo. We can define the schema. So this schema also, because I have the title, author, and then the price, right? So it'll be right here. So here's the structure. And then I declare the structure on the top. So once I retrieve the data, I find that, okay, if I get the return value, so that we return data by like found by ID. So here's the one of the function. If you need to search some content by the ID, of course you can define your own ID. But if you didn't define when you try to create also I will have a one more class like telling more details what the curious about the using MongoDB. But right now you just have a picture like how it works. So we're using found to search the record, or sometimes we use found one. And if you need to search by the ID, then we use the found by ID and then return a value. If we successfully get it, then we will return a message. Let's say we have an error message, book not found, then we will return a value. Okay. And if we are able to find it, then we can return the record. Sometimes we call that like the document. That means the collection return the value. And once we receive it, we will return like the response. So you will see right here header .h. .h is like the return value, and the response contains the book with the code 200. Okay, so the code will be like contained in the header. Okay, it's successfully. So here's the ID. if I need to search it by the title, if I will change it to the title, just I change the parameter like get book title, and I just put any title, let's say right here. Okay, so once I change it to the title, you will see right now I only return the books in match with the title. Okay, if I remove certain content, if no, then I get a bad request. Now, how can we handle it? Because this one is only the API server. Sometimes we couldn't able to retrieve the data. We may be not able to return. But right now the server is running still like actively running. But if we send some like incorrect request or like those with the data type error, they're not matched, you will make your server like stop running. So sometimes it's a good habit for you. Maybe you can create a path for testing. So let's say if you create a path and then right here, this personal habit for me, like I will create a path right here and then we'll return it. Like let's say return it's just working like this. Okay. So I was telling my server is right now it's like actively running right now, but maybe because the request you send to the server maybe have some error problem and it's still okay, but maybe the parameter or just like maybe some other issue cause you couldn't able to retrieve the data. Okay. And if you send a request to the server and makes it crash and stop running, then if you request from the testing, you won't receive anything. Okay, that means you know that your server, API server is done. Then you need to fix it or like log into your EC2, restart it one more time or fix the bugs, and then restart it one more time. So in reality, you may be not working for both like web API and database. If you are working for the company, like you are in charge for the database development, then maybe you only focus on the query. Sorry. Oh, okay, mistake. So let's say if you are working on the maybe the NoSQL or the RD, the relational database, okay, maybe you only provide the document and maintain the database. And then maybe there's a team like in charge for the API server. Okay. So maybe in their communication, they make the error, mistake. And then as a web developer, when you send a request, you don't know who did it. So you just report the problem to them. But for a small company, maybe you handle everything, like including the website, API server, database, then you need to like debugging, do debugging like fix one by one. So you need to like try to create some method like to check, okay, what's the problem? So just like the example I gave you, okay, once you have the website, I ask you to try to pull the data from the server. Okay, then how do I know? Is it because the connection is the API working, or because the server side like some database issue, connection issue? Then we need to try to set lots of things for debugging. Okay, and this one is we call passing a parameter. So actually we can pass by 2 parameters. Okay, so it's possible. But I'm not going to cover in today's lab. So for Happy.js, their document, if you want to like working faster, then you can look at the Happy.js. Actually, they do have a Happy.js right here, and then tutorial, and they will have a server method right here. So they have a different method functions we can use, and then we have the routing. And if you're interested, you can refer to their official website and then looking for some tutorial. If no, then you can wait for me. Then I will go through one by one. Because they have so many methods. Okay. And right here, I have a example. It's like combining 2 methods together. So first I pass one. This one is called parameter, and that one is called the query. Okay. So what's the difference between these two? And because I didn't give you this one before, so let me enlarge it and then, okay. So first one I say passed by the ID. So from my previous one, so you see that if I want to get the value, it's like request the params and then ID. And that's what I mentioned. I can use either in this format or just putting the dot. Okay. Okay. So either one way is fine. So it depends on you. And then if I need to pass it as a query, then I need to do it in this way. So let me change the request. Let's say I need to change it, the ID and then change the price. So let me get just randomly one of it and then change the price. Why not 10.23? So you see, first in this part, I'm passing the ID as a parameter. So if I need to pass it by the query, I need to put a question mark. Okay, question mark, and then I need to match with the value. So I'm using price, right? So I need to put price and put the equal sign. Maybe I put 1.23 or like 1.78 like this, and hit the enter. So I just return the message like from the database. So it will get the acknowledge is true. And right now, let me pull the data one more time. So you see the data updated right near 1.78. Okay. So depends on your need. If you need to using the query, if you know from the let's say I have the work programming. So right now you see the path right now. Maybe it's like passing through the parameter. So I have a slash, maybe I pass the page ID or like the items ID. So this one will be let's say 16.4.49.89, representing is the web programming. If I click on something, let's say activities, so you see there's a question mark, right? Okay, so this one will be passing by the query. Okay, so query equals like OU equals this one, and then I will handle by this path. Okay, so when you look at the path, then you will know how they handle all those requests. And here's so far is the structure of the Happy.js. If you look at the Happy.js, it's pretty simple. So this is how we start the server, and then mainly the block will be using a server route. Okay, of course you can start your server and then create another like called the server route.js and import it, and then import all the function. All those functions also will import the MongoDB query. So you can like break down to 3 different files. Okay. So it would be a good structure, like break down all those files instead of using one file, combine everything together. Okay. And I think I already upload the source code and for like kind of practice. So yeah, I know some of you are able to running on the cloud, or if you want to working on your local, then you can install it on your local. So what do you need to do? Try to set up the API server. If to those I know you are able to do it, then based on the one I upload, then try to connect to your MongoDB and try to implement. For the lab time, try to create the this time they try to pass the parameter. Okay, so I try to implement a get method like passing a parameter and get the ID and then get some returns value. Okay. So once you're able to do this, then you can integrate with your the web page. Because like for the web page, you're not only fetching the data. Let's say if you fetch a list, then when you click on it, click on either one of the items, then you need to fetch some new data, right? You need to pass this ID to the API server. API server will retrieve the data from the MongoDB and return back to your website, and then you need to generate the content for your website. So here's the whole structure. Okay. Okay, let me. Okay, yep. So okay, yeah, you're saying okay, good. So Here's so far everything. Then right now I will let you please download the source code I upload to you. You will see the server and the Mongo queries, and download this one. You can upload those files to your server or to a new one and connect to your MongoDB. You need to modify all the configurations. I put the connection right here. You will see I just connect to localhost 27017. So this one is the port for the MongoDB. That's like what MongoDB using. So don't modify it. And this one is the database I'm using. Okay. So you know we're using use to create new database. So if you have any typo, let's say I have a called an online bookstore, and then if I make a typo, let me create a new one. Okay. Okay. So table. Okay. Okay. So let's say I have make a typo, like let's say I put one more S. So it's still able showing I can switch to the database, like to the to this table. But the problem is that it's empty. The reason why, because how it detects is like when you exist, there's a DB is exist, this one, it will using it. But if it doesn't exist, the MongoDB will help you to create a new one. Okay. So you need to be really careful that if you make any title, then you will get an empty table, so you couldn't able to find it. Right now I give you the left time, so you can try to implement this part to try to modify and connect to your the one on your AWS, or if you have the one on your local host, then you can test it with a local host. Make sure, okay. At least you should have a get method passing the parameter. Yeah, I told you. Especially speakers, but someone's great. I was only listening to more instruments. Maybe 7 or 8. Yeah. Yeah, just on the assignment. Oh, no, it's notes for like, I just like. Yeah, so, yeah, it's just the file, or the file permissions.
Device, yeah, between maybe.
This one happens, I used to get on sale like Amazon, like, get on sale like Amazon, like,
It's week 5, actually.
these, so they're really good. Yeah, I was always supposed to have this. So I get it. So many people like it, it's just so easy. They make great budget. audio stuff, see if there's audio. Well, audio, I think, yeah, so, yeah, it's only really like that. Yeah, everybody, see if your audio has come.
Right now, this one is your website. Okay. Right now, this one is the EPI server. So it's. So if you have the files that have PJ. Okay. Yeah, maybe you can create a new folder, create a new folder. Yeah. So why be aware that right now what I'm telling you doing is not the React.js. Okay, because for our class, when we need to build a website, the website is only part of it. We call the front end. That's what we see. Okay. So, but for a whole complete project, for work programming, even I gave you the source code like called like Happy.js. Actually, it's another part. It's like API server. Okay, API server is helping us to handle all the requests. So, if you remember, maybe in my system design or so website, that's what we're building right now. Is the React, right? So we will send the request like through the network to the API server. So API server will be right now what we are using is the Happy. Okay, for the Happy.js, we will connect to the MongoDB. It's a NoSQL. Okay. So this one is our server. Okay. So this one we can like execute locally, and this one is our server remote. Okay. This is a whole structure. So before we are working on the React, right now, what we are implementing is the server side. Okay. And try not to combine all the source code together. And because just like for demonstration, actually I can like working it on my local host. It's okay. Like if you have issue like connect to your server, but you cannot do that, then you can do it in this way. It won't affect you. Okay. Yeah. But you need to install all the requirements. I'm not sure if you finish like no. Okay, maybe I can help you.
Where it's like, okay, we're in relation to my project, so it's going to be installed on that too. Trying to figure out where things need to go. Like
Okay.
for each like React app we create, for example,
Mhm.
in each of those apps, you need to have like Happy installed or any of that stuff.
No, they are separate. Okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can repeat one more time if you are confusing what you are doing. If you want to like testing, you will see right now, here I'm running right now, it's on my local host because I installed the MongoDB on my laptop or on my MacBook, okay? So I have a database right here, I have data. So I just connect to my local host 3000, okay? And for today's lab, I just want to tell you, you only try to get the data because I give you an example, /API/get items, right? But for a complete website, you cannot implement only with the API/get item because sometimes you need to log in. Okay, then how can you pass the user email or user account to the server or password? How can you match it? Okay, so where can we match it? Database, right? So the structure, when you have a React create the app, and let's say we have a login page. Well, I try to show you right here. So for the student also, I can use the draw.io. Okay. Okay. If you don't have a MongoDB or on your local host, you are also like you are welcome. Feel free to connect to your EC2 server. Okay, because suppose like most of you already if you follow all the labs in like my previous labs, you should able to retrieve the data, right? So you can modify the your maybe you may follow me using the like API server.js or the server.js. Could you find the folder? Okay, if you're able to find it, then you just need to modify the JS file. And in my example, I break down that file into two parts. So one is the happy.js query, the path, the route. And then I create a new one is the MongoDB query. So it's a function. So you will see the structure of my Mongo queries, like I create all the function and then export it as a function name. So I can import it. So when I need it, then I can use it. Okay. The advantage we doing in this way is that in case I have multiple server, like maybe sometimes I need to reuse it, then I can do it in this way. Okay. Then I don't have to copy and paste from the server side. Like I don't have to copy the whole code. Or sometimes you need to use the find, maybe you need to, let's say for login, I need to find, do I have this user account? Or does it exist? If yes, then I'll match it. If it doesn't exist, then I will redirect. Okay, it doesn't exist, and then return back. Like return a message from the server side, return to your that means your website. So okay, account is not exist. Do you want to create a new account? Yes. Okay. So here's the logic. Like it's a complete picture of it. And let me draw this a little. Okay. So let me see. So the VS is the web page, and then our happy.js is the API server, and then I connect to our database. Let me use it's our MongoDB. Okay. 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 So in the previous step, what you are doing is working on the React. And when I in the last week on Thursday, I'm telling something about the syntax, like what's the JS ES6. They can apply on the React or Happy.js. Okay. So the syntax, because all of them are using the JS. And why not if you follow my lab, if you still if you're working on it, if you follow my lab and you need to modify the API server.js, that file, or maybe using code server.js, depends on the name. And what do you need to modify? You need to change it. Pardon me. Yeah. So you can modify. Yeah. You can override or like change it. Yeah. But so far in this moment, anybody is like still confusing what are you doing? Or if you have no idea, what should you do? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you want to test, like if for the configuration, if you want to make sure like everything go just like as a minimum, I will recommend you. Okay, so as what I mentioned, for the whole structure, everything start with the basic structure will be like this. Okay. So right here is like we just need to request the happy.js running the server, and then we initialize it and make our servers running out on the localhost like 3000. And that's it. And then maybe you can start with the basic one is the get with testing. Okay. So you can start with this part as a beginning. And then you need to create the MongoDB and break down the one get item. Maybe you can create a function. Okay, let's say it's called a constant, like get all items. You will match when you match it, you will see the function font, but I have a schema. What you need to do, your schema need to match with your MongoDB design. Maybe everyone you have a different structure. Maybe you have different content. Maybe if you are using called a user account, then you need to change to user account. Maybe you have the username and password, then just change to username password, and then you can put the name, let's say account, okay, or user. Then you can just like put user. So for a situation, maybe for you, you're using, let's say user, and then you have the username. Maybe you have username and password. Okay. And then this one is your the collection name. So your collection name maybe is called a user account, right? So user account, then you can change to user account. And you just remove like just like building a block. So if you think the structure I gave you is too complicated, try to keep the minimum one. So I can keep the function called get all item right here, all item. And I will export only one function. Okay. And then change it. And will you from my sample code I gave you right here happy JS. Yeah, so modify, yeah. If you look at this one, you see I use the await collection and find, right? Where I directly execute the query, search the data. Okay, so I'm going to modify, let's say right now still using the slash API slash if you stack, and then pardon. Yeah, modify that one, yeah. Or you can modify the one you are running on your server right now. Okay. The change. Okay. Okay, so you can create a new one, or if you need to modify, if you follow the sample code I gave you, so you see right here, right? Okay. I have a get items, but right now we are not just execute the a good behavior is try not to like put the query together. So we try to export. Like one thing is we say as a request like message. So I will create a new file. So you will see the function. I move out the query function. So you will see right now from the items, right? I create a new one, the file folders right here, get all item. So you need to create a new JS file and then connect with the Mongoose. Mongoose is another package. If you look at the old one, is using the MongoDB. So this time I let you to try another package. Also, it can connect to the MongoDB. And because like for different package, they have different features and function. For Mongoose is another really common and popular package. And also it's a strong and powerful package to handle the request. Okay. So if you need to running on your server, you need to install one more package. It's called a Mongoose. And you need to create a new file. Let's say it's called a NoSQL query. You can put any name, file name. And first I need to request it. And then I will define a schema. and try to create a function. So if you remember the syntax, we say the arrow function, right? Arrow function, we are applying the arrow function with the async and await. And because we try to catch the error. So right here, you will see the box.find. So it will be exactly is the function like you can return it like to array or like remove other content. So what you need to do is just take out this part to change like this. Okay. If you I give you a sample, if you need to modify, let's say if you need to modify your source code. Okay, so right here I have get items, right? Get items. I remove the old one, and then you can copy my source code. So first I put the try box, or I can keep the name is called items or user account. So either way is okay. So let's say it's items and then get all items. So it's done. Okay, so this part is ready. Then what do you need to do? Then you need to request it from your file. Okay, and I need to import it, and let's say get all items. This one depends on the name you create for the file. So if you say it's called the NoSQL query, it's okay, queries or query. So depends on your name put for your file, name for a file. And then you see I move out the function, the query to here. Okay. And the basic, this one is like return the format where the MongoDB return back. So I don't have to change like to array, change it to array. I don't have to do that. Sometimes like good structure is like if I only return only one object, but it's not in the array format. So sometimes if you want to make it in the like same structure, then you need to return it as a like doc to array. So we always try to get a value as a first item. But sometimes we need to check, let's say if we can check the return values length, but this one is the later, like for the implementation, for the logic. So what do you need to do right now? Just like try to copy the code and modify. So you should able to, after you modify your API server, it should be look like this. And then you try to import from the query, and then query file will be in this format. Okay. So if you're able to do this part and then restart your server, and then if you can get all the items, the next step is how can you pass the parameter? Okay. So how can you pass the parameter? Then you can create the second one. So the parameter, of course you can create like copy and paste from my sample code and just paste right here. You can make like get item by ID or in lowercase get item by ID, and then you can pass the ID. Okay. So it's a get, I create get item by ID and then pass the ID and call it called item. Okay. So that means I have a function called get item by ID, and I need to import from the query right here. And I need to create a new function. Okay. Okay. Get item by ID. Okay. Then I need to pass the ID. Pass the ID, and then I need to search. And when we need to find the record by the ID, we have a function. So what's the function? The function name is called the find by ID. Okay. So it's right here. Where's the that's the code right here. So you can call the find by ID and then pass the ID. Then you can get your record. Okay, which it will like contain the ID. When it match, it will return back to you. Okay. And that's what you need to do is like, if you're able to like finish this step, then you successfully like get the value by the parameter. You know how to pass it by the parameter. Then next, how can we pass it through the query, the parameter query, and then how can we pass the data to the like the payload, the body. So every time when we mention about the payload, it should be a post method. Okay. Here's the differences between is if we are using the get method, it always show up on the top. So for the get rec, if we're using the get method, so all the value will be passing through from the URL of the link. But if we are passing through the post method, you see the URL may be just like let's say add item. Okay, so maybe the URL look like this. Okay. So what are the data with the content, the data content? So it should be like inside a JSON file. So we cannot post the data directly through the URL. Then we need to either using some like application. If for testing, you maybe use the Postman, or if you need to post, we need to use the complete maybe they're using a terminal. Like we can use the crew and then head the X. So you will see right here. So we need to using the post method, and then declare the header should be a JSON format, and then -d is like call the data, and then with the content. So this one is like using the post method passing to the payload. Okay. So the third step is passing through the payload. So just like, okay, and right now roll back to the step one. How can you convert your source code, and you know how to do that? No. Okay, so you upload everything to okay, and if you want to look in on the server, the one that you should be setting up JSC. So if you want to serve, then you need to add it. It's not. So you need to change the configuration. Yeah. Yeah. So I want to see yeah. Oh, you get extended. Okay. So if you're going to the server, they have a parking lot. It's right across the street. There's something different. You know where yeah. More about the yeah, but one more is that also when we try to so that's why you check your own if you follow my you should use user. So that means you need to change the user account. And so I kept on waiting up. I think like you go kind of see it. It's like your have super have you have to sleep. Yeah, hey, I'm going to talk to you too. Yes, I kind of sort of. And then I was going to you know, so we have the function usually like almost. Okay, or actually maybe you can change it to like get or and if let's say you have it okay, if you want to catch it, so you can get this one and do it. Okay. And then so this one because the schema will mix on your mobile when you create the collection.
I don't know.
It's like, let's say you can change the name to.
I don't get hate over it. You know, it's like one beer, that's, I don't drink that much. I've never been from, never been to.
As you get older. When you have very much. So it's like, and they use it won't go as a beer.
Okay, yeah.
It's right there, so I'm a little surprised it's not.
So they felt real tired on Saturday afternoon. That's probably the out in the sun all day. Shooting spring things. Yeah, they were.
Yes. I will take that one.
Oh, you have the CSCI. Okay, then you can use.
This one.
And if you don't know what the correction, so it's the same, so corrections.
Yeah, no, basically one that exists.
I'm gonna have shooting spring things next to you, tell me like you want to join it. Invite me. Okay, so. So I not as key wrestling, so we use the spring videos, you can book of events. To check. Yeah, we do like Saturday or Sunday or Friday. Okay, so this one I before, okay, I don't know you're saying like two place. So right now we are using the CSCI. Okay. Okay, we are, so I think right now we are working on the user. So, DB, user account. Suppose like that. So fund is like to spread all the fund, all the funds. So right now we only have one record, so we are finding them. So, okay. That's cool. So what's the schema? So, the schema actually is the structure you are going to. So, when right here, so you have the name. So the name of the string, and then we have some same.
Love to learn.
Same. I gotta learn like, I mean, learn like a bunch of like history, science, actually it's also a string. IT. Okay, yeah. Oh.
Our website's locally on the server and it's the same.
So it's just identity. So it's just identity. What you would do.
Yeah, they're like the next.
Yeah, like it was doing when I do what I should.
This. I get mixed up.
Yeah. It is actually my proud. It is almost my uncle got that back was here in jail already. Yeah, so I'm considering Air Force. Air Force because they're based in San Antonio, like in the Army, no, for cyber was like. Yeah.
I'm worried though.
Yes, exactly.
Which one does
So right here, we need to, okay, so the collection. So what's the Philippines names? Yeah. So we just, yeah, I'm fine with you.
I mean, I look like it.
Siberia has to. I want that magic, man.
No, I do it like.
Sometimes I.
Yeah, good Jesus.
It's like.
You know, two words, I think it's easier to read it like I want, so. So I choose by, I want to change. One thing about type two is like, you can reverse it. First thing, I want to add more memory, so that's why I was. Because they're moving on the liquid hydrogen, hard drive, and basically gives you more memory. I'll be waiting, I think it should, I know my campus still down. He said Germany, and was it?
Making work streams.
Yeah, you have to have work.
I said it. Then you can. Also you can use the
Watch on video, just like, get caught up. I only have. Okay, yes, I understand system analysis design easily. Yeah, yes, basically like project on.
Well, it engineers say they're. Yeah, so you can get a slash eight out there.
I like, yeah, like, I very high. Like, all spacing on all of the source. That's it. That's it, and it means help like really like. Like, it just don't get to me as much as it used to.
Okay, so. So, when that's your work.
Yeah, so I'm gonna read all this.
Okay, yeah, so, try to get it.
Yeah,
I think
my boss telling me I'm supposed to be. And he didn't realize that I'm not from, must be like, whatever you get. Take off from it, skill fit. So, like, pressing or something, he's like, yeah, go ahead and take off.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So, actually.
All this work and
So we did that second. I had some more money.
Yeah, I should go busy.
So if we change the. Yeah.
Was on us.
You didn't have any money, you got that for like fire, like, basically, it does, right, sounds like that'd be so too bad, the thing is, there's a big old process you gotta do, each little one, it's like an hour, you have to see what kind of get done by 10, yeah, and then most are 8, so, yeah, it takes me an hour to get my phone. Oh, that is, well, actually, this only took me about 30 minutes. And then, came over it.
Yeah.
That's 30 people. So it's gonna take all day. So they go around. It's like you're gonna crop it, make sure it's sized to the right software to accept it. You can get it accepted, then I got to throw it in there. How about I got to know that, then I got to go back. Busy on Mondays. Yeah, I say. My boss told me. I started. So it is. It's like my job where you say Mondays. My job like that too, Mondays and Fridays always missing. This one time my boss out because he had doctor's appointments and basically as soon as I'm about ready to go play, we can leave at 3 p.m. because I have a 30-hour work week, 23 hours a week. And basically right when things started happening, so I had to take my shower. Like a little fire alarm went off. So fire department came and interrupted, so I had proper people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see.
You remember that PSA was supposed to be making
Yeah, so you know, going against the feds.
No, they just decided they didn't want to back it up.
We did, right, so we.
Like, oh, we were looking over the fire, we discovered it, we got troubleshooting it through the bar.
Yeah, well, personally, it's an SBT 40.
I might have one of those. There is a company that's making like
It's pretty similar.
pre-production. They're still working, you know.
It's.
Well, here's like a very again, because some of them were like, they're really survivors.
Well, and also anything overcast. Work and like the lowest responsible the deal is, and also it's like that for the issue too. But, yeah. Apparently, yeah.
It's sad.
It's come through within a couple of years.
And my only rights to that was my one too. I look out.
I got it set up by 39 dollars for the same. They're also gonna offer it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna, it's 7.60 by 39, we're so, run the 18. Yeah, I think the cartridge expired by. Yeah, you get sure. There we go.
Good day. I hope I can figure some of this shit out.
I'll need to use that one.
It both started off.
Okay, oh, good. Everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're good. The only, the only really. Is the chart. So. Some that, you know, wasn't it something like that is like, we have to create its own, that they all can go on. And it's like, what, and yeah, we don't see it.
So when I say.
But it's,
Okay, what's that?
but it's,
Have you ever
like
like,
opening the electronic, like starting from.
Yeah, that concept, but
Essentially, whatever the
everyone
you do, that's like.
we mainly is that when we talk
That
about
type of
the person,
command
but then
space.
for some people, we will include the
There's like.
user, there is the owner and. So we, no, doesn't, it doesn't belong to like.
That's it, it's really,
It's more like the big thing of that.
Yeah, and then the language is essentially just type
Oh,
out
I would-
exactly you want to get the buttons and make sure you add enough delay to get the load.
Give some rights, part of the mission, a certain type,
Delay.
then I would tell you it's like the same. Sometimes I would say, you said that who has, if you see something, and then you say, yeah, you. If I didn't mention anything, sometimes we just like write down by default. Or, except the owner, because the owner have the highest privilege. Because I'm the one who created this file, so I have a right to read, or mainly it's about wait this file. So most of the time, we have a right is read and execute. Okay, but sometimes we just read. Okay, if I didn't say anything, you can like write it for me, if I read that. Okay, except the owner. Okay, if I say, okay, I'm the owner, if I didn't say anything, I didn't say that. Okay, if I rewrite it, okay. If I didn't mention any about group, and I didn't say anything about like limitation restriction, you can write the first thing instead with it. Okay, without writing. Suppose it's like common sense, then makes sense by default. But because I didn't say it, it's okay. Well, so the question, I just want to know what is the special. Yeah, so if you like confuse it, it's okay. So I know you say hash, okay.
so everyone's been covered?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
How's yours?
I don't know how to make everything. I don't know how to make the thing.